Here we go!
Today on a special edition of Rock the Park, we are far, far away from home. We're in the land of the rising sun.
We've made it to paradise.
Oh, wow, is that spectacular.
Diving into the wonders of the Galapagos of the East.
Everything about this place is just wild.
Including some of the deadliest snakes in the world.
A, they creep me out. B, I don't want to get bit by one.
But as we're about to discover,
I think it's this way.
nature has a way of making you feel right at home.
Oh! Wow!
We're in Japan, and it all starts right now.
I'm Jack Stewart.
And I'm Colton Smith. We've been buddies for years, and we love exploring the national parks.
It's all about packing up a car and just doing it, just hitting the road.
Our goal is to visit every national park in this country.
And when you go off the beaten path like we do,
there's no telling what will happen next.
Get set to rock the park.
The national parks have been called America's best idea, and this appreciation for protecting wildlife and preserving wild spaces is shared by many countries around the world. And that includes Japan, where living in harmony with nature is considered a blessing.
So when we were invited to explore some Japanese national parks, we were all in.
In a country that's roughly the size of California, there are 33 national parks, and today we're going to explore the southernmost park in all of Japan. Iriomote-Ishigaki National Park is split between two islands in the East China Sea, more than 1,200 miles southwest of Tokyo. The park protects the island's primeval subtropical forests, mangroves, and coral reefs, as well as the abundant marine life that surrounds the islands, including sea turtles, which will sometimes approach divers and snorkelers. We've seen sea turtles hatch and return to the sea before, but we've never been in the water with them.
Here we go.
We may get the chance on this trip, so we're stopping by the Chirashima Aquarium in Okinawa to learn more about them.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That whale shark is the size of a bus.
Yeah, that's insane.
Whale sharks are the largest fish on the planet. Like the manta rays, they're gentle giants, shy and rarely seen.
We got sharks, manta rays, whale sharks, all in one big tank.
And we came here to talk about sea turtles.
There are 3 species of sea turtles that live in this region, the loggerhead, hawksbill, and green. And we're meeting the man who is an expert on all of them.
Konnichiwa.
Hi, konnichiwa.
This is Dr. Izeo Kawazu and translator Ko Mori. Dr. Kawazu and his team help breed sea turtles and release them back into the ocean.
What makes these islands so perfect for sea turtles?
沖縄は亜熱帯って言ってすごく暖かい地域です。
The nature of this island, because it's warm for the turtles, it's really easy to kind of live here. Especially green turtles, they tend to choose the islands that are less people, around.
Anything we should know about swimming with sea turtles?
ウミガメはすごく警戒心が強いので、
They're very cautious about especially human, so that please don't try to come near, but you can wait, kind of
watch from afar,
yeah,
respect
then
their
they
space.
may come to you.
So, with hopes that we'll get lucky and cross paths with a sea turtle or two, we head off to the island of Ishigaki, which is revered among the Japanese for its unspoiled beaches, clear water, and laid-back vibe.
Oh, look at all these spices.
Before we hit the park tomorrow, we're looking around the town of Ishigaki and grabbing a little traditional Japanese barbecue. Little pieces of beef and vegetables cooked over little tabletop grills.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, arigato. Now we feast.
We feast.
Gosh, that's phenomenal.
One thing that's really interesting about Iriomote-Ishigaki National Park is the fact that there's tons of water that flows through these islands. On Iriomote, there's a waterfall called Pinaisada. It's supposed to be unbelievable, but you have to paddle through mangroves to get there.
That sounds great.
So we could try to explore all the different types of waterways that they have out here.
That sounds fine with me. Like snorkeling. They have blue coral here, which is incredibly rare and unique. So the coral is really close, right off the coast, but there is a catch. We do have to time the tides right.
Okay, so what does that mean?
We gotta get up early. because we have to go out at high tide, and then we got to make sure that we're back by low tide. So that basically means like 4:30, we're up and at it.
Okay, so it's bright and early. Well, it's early, it's not bright. And it's not warm either. It's winter here, which means unpredictable weather. And this morning, it's about 15 degrees centigrade, which is a crisp 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, normally when you go snorkeling, you picture this just nice, warm, beautiful day. You don't really picture being up at 5 in the morning, kind of cold, looking at choppy seas, but that is what we have to do, and you know us, we're determined. The reef is just a 5-minute boat ride from shore, which is reassuring because the skies look a little ominous. None of that matters though once we jump in.
We get in the water and it is absolutely peaceful, tranquil, and just stunning underneath the surface.
We're keeping a lookout for sea turtles, but we see coral everywhere. Corals are actually invertebrate animals, and they make up reefs that are the largest living structures on Earth. They are home to a fourth of all marine life.
I'm swimming along on the reef, and all of a sudden I spot a very familiar fish. It's the clownfish.
Clownfish make their homes in sea anemones, which have tentacles that will sting and kill other fish. Clownfish survive because of a mucus coating that protects them from the anemone's lethal sting. We've also spotted a bright blue starfish. At night, these guys slowly creep around the reef, feeding on algae and microbes. Their main defense is a chemical coating which gives them a very bitter taste. One bite, and the hungry predator usually moves on.
We're looking around and we can see all these different kinds of coral, but then we spot in the corner of our eye something blue, and I think it's the blue coral.
Blue coral is a rare ancient species, and this reef contains the largest concentration in the world. Blue coral have bluish skeletons. However, they usually appear brownish gray due to the algae that grows on the surface and feeds the coral. Blue coral grow at a rate of less than half an inch a year in warm tropical waters. A change in temperature can kill off the algae, and the coral bleaches white and eventually dies. This bit of blue coral looks pretty good, but the conditions around us, not so much.
All of a sudden, we pop out of the water to the storm that has collected over our heads, and our boat captain's giving us the signal that it's time to get out of here.
Wow. Well, there will be no drying off on this voyage.
It was cool. While it is stormy up here, down below, it was actually really peaceful, tranquil. The fish were just swimming along smoothly. It was a whole different environment.
Our only disappointment is we didn't spot any sea turtles. But there's still time, and the blue coral was absolutely worth it.
Well, day one of Iriomote-Ishigaki National Park.
Wet and wild.
Tomorrow, we head to Iriomote in search of better weather and other wildlife.
Whoa, what do you see?
We're in Japan heading off to Iriomote, an island so wild and untouched, it's often called the Galapagos of the East.
The island is so remote, it's closer to Taiwan than the Japanese mainland.
We are headed to check out Pinaisara, which is a fabulous waterfall that's right here in Iriomote. This thing's supposed to be just massive. And to get there, you've got to kayak through a mangrove forest, then pull over and hike up to the waterfall.
Iriomote has stayed so wild thanks to its thick, almost impenetrable jungle. It's home to some fascinating animals, including an elusive wildcat and a venomous pit viper called Habu, which is already freaking me out because I am not a fan of snakes.
Once we get off of these kayaks, I'm gonna be looking for these things left and right. Because A, they creep me out, B, I don't want to get bit by one.
Okay, technically, Habu aren't aggressive, but if you get too close, one bite requires immediate medical attention, which is hard to come by on an island this remote.
Now, I'm cool with snakes. I don't mind them nearly as much as Jack does, but these Habu, they're tree vipers. So it's not like they're always gonna be right in front of your feet. They could, in fact, be dropping on your head. But all we can do is keep our eyes peeled, paddle, enjoy the waterfall. We got a beautiful day, and it's gonna be a great adventure.
We've got about an hour-long paddle through the mangroves until we reach the trailhead for the waterfall.
The mangrove forest is quite an amazing ecosystem.
Mangroves are an essential habitat for thousands of species who depend on the food and shelter the dense thickets provide. They cover roughly 75% of all tropical coastlines worldwide.
You can tell it's a mangrove if you see just this dynamic root system. They're able to grip the ground amidst tides that are moving in and pulling out.
The roots trap silt and sediment, which protect the coastline from damaging winds and waves. The water within the mangrove is brackish, a mix of freshwater and salty seawater, and full of nutrients and creatures from each.
When you think of brackish, it almost seems to imply murky. This water is crystal clear in the mangroves. There hasn't been a moment yet where we can't see the bottom.
Ooh, fishy.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
Oh yeah. Not snakes, are they?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how paranoid about snakes are you right now?
Probably 9 right now. Ooh, check it out. Crested eagle.
Oh, wow. Good eye.
Also known as Ryukyu serpent eagles, these guys prey mainly on snakes, and with 1,000 of these raptors living in the park, that's gotta be a good sign.
Ooh, there she is.
Pinaisara means old man's beard, and it's clear to see how this waterfall got that name.
Oh, wow, is that spectacular.
At 180 feet, the falls are the tallest in Okinawa. All that stands between us and the falls now is a mile or so trek through the jungle.
This is gonna be awesome.
Oh, stuck the landing. But maybe not the exit. All right, ready?
Yeah?
Let's hike. Yeah.
At just over 1,000 square miles, Iriomote is the least developed island in Okinawa. Many consider it Japan's last true wilderness.
Everything about this place is just wild.
I am absolutely scanning for habu, but it's a little hard because everything out here looks like a snake. I mean, this is wild territory out here. We are far, far away from home. What do you see?
I think it was just a branch that came sliding down, but it was long and narrow.
Habu aside, I'm also on the lookout for that elusive Iriomote wildcat, discovered in 1967. It's a type of leopard cat that only exists on this island. The wildcats hunt everywhere, on the forest floor, up in the trees, and even along the few roads on this island. The cats are critically endangered, and only 100 or so remain on the island.
Oh, I can see mist.
Oh yeah.
And I can hear water.
Oh! Wow. Wow is right. The trail to get here is so interesting because you're just kind of jammed up in the jungle, making your way through the dense brush. But as soon as we came out and saw the mist coming down, it just opened up. And now we are just microscopic next to this tall waterfall. Look how it's just like hollowed out in here.
And the size of the boulders that obviously at one point made up the mountainside. It's like a painting. I mean, it really is.
After being on such high alert for venomous snakes, the atmosphere here at the waterfall fills me with an amazing sense of peace.
It's so amazing how nature can stir you up, get you on your toes, but at the same time, put your fears at ease, calm you down, and make you really appreciate where you are and what you're doing.
My newfound tranquility is great. Yeah! But it doesn't last long, especially when we go looking for sea turtles and run into what I think is an eel.
But then he emerges, and I realize that this is not an eel. This is something much more dangerous.
It's our last day in Iriomote-Ishigaki National Park in Japan, and we're on the hunt for a secret snorkeling spot we've heard about here on Iriomote.
We're staying on the island, but we have to take a ferry to get to the other side of the island because the jungle out here is just way too thick to try to make your way through it. So we should be in pristine snorkeling waters in no time.
The town of Funauki is tiny. Only about 50 people live here. The locals make their living primarily off fishing and farming.
Should we hit the beach?
Totally.
All right.
The bay we're looking for is about a 15-minute walk from the village.
Oh, man.
Yes.
All right.
This is absolutely a dream beach. I mean, you walk out here, the water's clear, it's got that turquoise blue color, and you've got these cliffs, the greenery, it's absolutely stunning.
And the weather today is just perfect.
All right,
Yeah.
we've made it to paradise.
Let's gear up and
Yeah.
get in that water.
All right, sounds good.
So the weather is incredibly nice today. However, I will still be wearing a wetsuit. I know that somehow, some way, even if I put on all the sunscreen in the world, I will get burnt. And that's me learning a lesson over many, many years and through a lot of pain. But not today. Not today. Here we go. Yeah! The moment I take my first look underneath the surface, I'm in heaven. The water is just crystal clear.
This is such a perfect snorkeling spot. You've got coral in the shallow waters, but as you go further out, it starts to get deeper and deeper, and eventually it drops off into an abyss.
The deeper water would be a good place to see a whale shark or a giant manta ray because both love the warm currents that flow through here.
But we want to spot a sea turtle, and that's where my mind has been at all day. Sea turtles are one of the most ancient species on the planet. They've been around for 150 million years, since the time of the dinosaurs.
As we're swimming along, I spot something that is just slithering through the water. This has got to be an eel.
I look over at Jack and he's just flailing his arms. We pop up to the surface and he spotted an eel. So I'm curious and I want to try to get a closer look at this guy. But then he emerges, and I realize that this is not an eel, this is a sea snake. I'm no expert on sea snakes, but I know that they generally are very dangerous and can even be deadly.
Instantly, my heart drops. Land snakes are bad enough. Trust me, we do not want to be in the water with a sea snake.
Colt tells me that we should make our way back to the beach, and I am all for that.
We've got to get out. These things are extremely venomous, and it's just the smart decision.
We're on the island of Iriomote in Japan, booking it towards the shore after spotting a deadly sea snake right below us.
We later discovered that this is a banded sea crate, one of the most venomous snakes on the planet.
Fishermen have died attempting to pull the snakes out of their nets. If left alone, they won't go out of their way to bother humans. But right now, we don't know that, and I'm bound and determined to get out of its way until something else stops me in my tracks.
Jack again starts flailing his arms, so my first reaction is I think that he spotted another snake.
As we're swimming along, I look over and I spot something rather large swimming off towards the abyss. It's a sea turtle.
At first, I almost don't even believe him because it'd be almost too good to be true. And then, boom, there he is.
Once again, my fear dissolves into an overwhelming sense of joy. After all this, we're actually swimming with a sea turtle.
We've gone snorkeling in some amazing places, but we've never swam alongside a great sea turtle like this. This is a loggerhead. They nest here in Japan and migrate 8,000 miles all the way across the Pacific to feed in the rich waters off the coast of Mexico. They get their name from their strong, crushing jaws, which can crack open hard-shelled crabs and mollusks. And just like that, he dips down and enters into the abyss, and he's gone.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That may have been the coolest, most unique snorkel I've ever done.
Oh, it's easily was for me.
yeah.
We saw so many fish, tons of coral, a sea snake, and swam with the sea turtle.
Our visit to Iriomote-Ishigaki National Park has been nothing short of spectacular. As we prepare to fly home, we are taking with us so many great memories and experiences.
Oh man, this was one of the more eye-opening adventures that I've ever been on. Easily.
Without a doubt.
It's kind of funny how rocky this adventure started out. I mean, we wanted nothing more than to get out and explore that blue coral under the bright sun, but nature tossed us a curveball.
Every day was something that was so unexpected in such a positive way.
I think that's what travel and adventure is all about. It's going out, experiencing new things, and appreciating the similarities, but more so the differences of each individual place. I was a little nervous.
I could talk about this trip for days and how much it meant to me, all the new things we experienced. I mean, this was my first time overseas. And I think within the first few days of being here in Okinawa,
I was already thinking, I can't wait to come back.
And remember,
Hey, if we can do it,
So the next chance you get, go out and rock the park.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
and please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.